Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me today for Roofing Contractor's Editor's Choice Spotlight Series, where we highlight some of the products that are making a difference for contractors around the country. I'm RC Editor Art Eisner, and I'm really happy to be joined today by Eric Mackintosh, co-founder of The Catch-All, to talk about their recent Editor's Choice selection. Hi, Eric. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's jump right in. Tell us, what does The Catch-All do?
Well, first of all, thanks, Art, for having us. We appreciate you all a lot, and thanks for recognizing what we're doing. I mean, that's really flattering, and we're honored. So thanks for having me on. The Catch-All is designed to help roofers. We designed it initially to help with nails because, so many of the jobs that we were doing at Avco Roofing here in East Texas, we would get calls back, people were finding nails and they were upset. And we were doing an amazing job on people's roofs, and we're doing, top level products and top level workmanship. But if someone is upset about the nails, then they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth. And so we first set out to buy a product that would help us with nails. We bought the strongest magnets we could possibly find, and they didn't help at all. We bought metal detectors for every single project manager, including myself. I was out there metal detecting, and couldn't get nails, and it was just taking way too much time. And then we realized maybe we should develop something that doesn't exist yet. And so we came up with the Catch-All. It took us a couple of years to develop, but basically the Catch-All is a system of netting that wraps around the house, and it protects from falling debris, especially nails. It keeps them out of shrubs and flowers. And you can protect AC, siding, windows, that sort of thing. And then it protects the grass, because you can't leave a tarp all day, especially in the summer, because it'll choke out the grass. Our nets are breathable. And so we basically wrap a whole house. The goal is no nail left behind and no piece of grass killed or, left with nails in it.
Wow. So you guys have obviously thought a lot of details through, and that can only come from experience, which you touched on a little bit. And that's really part of the appeal for us about the product also, is that it was designed by roofing contractors. Can you tell us a little bit more about, your background specifically, and then how you guys made that transition from, okay, we have a great idea for a roofing product, but we're roofers.
Right. Yeah. So I've been best friends with Heath Hicks since 2003, and a lot of folks know him as the owner of Avco Roofing. I know him as just a really creative, cool, smart guy. I mean, we became good friends in college, and really close ever since then. And when he'd been a roofer and was really learning the trade and making good money for like 7 or 8 years before he had the opportunity to buy Avco Roofing. And I realized what an opportunity it was, and I really believe in Heath. And so I jumped out of my career and came to do sales and project management for him. And I was learning a ton, coming up under Heath. And the number one thing that Heath always preached to us, to the project managers, to focus on, was customer experience. That was our number one thing, because we knew that if we made the customers feel like we really cared about them and we really took care of them, even above our own profitability, then they would tell people about us, and then we would start getting more and more jobs, and it would be, a cascade. And so basically the goal at Avco Roofing was to do such a good job on every single roof that those people tell 2 other people. So it's just kind of, it spreads so quickly. And how do we do that? Customer experience. And we realized pretty early on that nails especially are one of the biggest gripes, and nails left behind. And there's so many nails. How do you expect to get them up? Especially with tarps that often have holes in them, because they're not really that great of a material for catching nails and staying, in one piece without holes in it, especially if it's so big you have to drag it and you got holes in it. Secondarily is damage to landscaping, siding, windows, that sort of thing. And, the roofing crews, they're trying to do a great job, but a lot of times, they're on a 12 and 12 hanging on, just trying to get through their day without getting hurt, and they're not able to see what's on the ground underneath them. And so I would spend a lot of time on the job site, trying to clean up and make sure that they have what they need on the roof. But at the same time, there's such a mess down on the ground. And then, when you're done at 7 o'clock, everybody's trying to wrap up and get packed up and get home and get dinner and spend some time with their family, and so it's pretty, I've been on my hands and knees with like a headlamp on, going through the bushes, trying to find nails. but there's just no possibility of you ever finding all of them. And so that was just a big sticking point for a lot of customers. And we realized if there's any way that we can just get these nails up, then Avco Roofing is going to grow, because, you know, we just wanted the best customer experience of any roofing company in East Texas. And so that's where we bought these, you know, $1,000 magnets that just didn't work any better. And the metal detectors came into play, and that didn't help at all. And then so we were thinking, like, how we realized the only way to get all the nails out of the grass is for them to never get in the grass or the bushes or the mulch to begin with. So we started thinking, like, would there be a way, like, could we nail tarps to the soffits? Is that possible? Or what about clips? Can we clip them to the fascia? What does that look like? And then, you know, we were thinking about wind, and the wind would just rip all that stuff off and throw whatever's on there. And then we realized, well, what about a netting? You know, like, I was kind of inspired playing with my kids on the trampoline, the net that keeps the kids in the trampoline. What if we could put that around a house? Because it has a good amount of stretch in it, and it seems to be pretty strong. I mean, I've seen my kids bounce off of it. So we started sourcing manufacturers of that and getting reams of it and sort of testing with it. And we bought trailer covers, but those don't have as good of a weave. We ended up with a work knit fabric that really does a good job of absorbing absorbing energy. And we started testing with that, and we made ground nets. One of the biggest problems with tarps is if they're big, you have to drag them. And that does two things. It tears up the tarp, number one, because you got shingles on it and nails, and you're tearing through there. And then you're just leaving a trail of nails, you know, behind you on your way to the dump trailer. And secondarily, you're dragging over, who knows what's under there. You can't see what's under it. You know, you're dragging over flowers and sidewalks and scraping up sidewalks and that sort of thing. So
doing more harm than good.
Doing more damage. Yeah.
Right. So it was a 2-year process for the prototype development. And you as you mentioned too, there are some safety features also that help the roofers. I think for us, it was easy for us to categorize you guys in the old problems, new solutions category, you know, for Editor's Choice, because you know, roofing is messy. You just can't get around that. You touched on a couple of points. How were you guys able to convince homeowners that this was going to be a workable solution, especially when they haven't been able to see it before?
Right. Well, so I remember the first house we tested it on. I went, you know, I was going to put on their roof, big, beautiful home, really beautiful landscaping, beautiful architecture. Anyway, I said, hey, you know, we're developing a product that we think is going to do a better job of keeping nails and debris out of your landscaping and your flowers. Would you mind if we tested it at your house? And they're super nice. They're like, yeah, sure. I mean, if you think it might help, absolutely. And I still have the photos of the very first test we did. I had zip tied carabiners to the top of painter's poles, and then cut a Nerf football and stuck it on top of that and leaned it against the house and put the nets up on it, just to, you know, for proof of concept to see if this would work. And it surprisingly helped a ton, you know, and it was a 2-story house too. And so, you know, windy day, 2-story house, debris is just going everywhere, and there's no way to keep it out of the bushes and landscaping and all that. And, you know, I took some pictures, and Heath and I looked at it and kept improving and kept trying on more and more houses. And I remember back in those early days, neighbors would come out and be like, what is on this house? And I would, you know, spend some time talking and say, hey, you know, this is a new system that we're developing. You know, we're really trying to make sure that we don't leave trash behind, especially nails that can be dangerous. And so, you know, this is what we're working on. But yeah, I mean, it kind of caught on slowly at first. And then I was using it in all of my installs. I worked a lot in the neighborhood here in Tyler called Holly Tree. It's a golf course neighborhood with, you know, big homes, 12, you know, 70 to 100 squares. And I remember the first time I got a call, someone said, hey, you don't know me. I live on this street. I have a roofer who got my home approved for an insurance claim on the roof. And I asked him if he had the net thing. And he said no, and he didn't know what that was. And so I walked a block and a half to my neighbor's house where I saw the net thing being used during her roofing job. And I knocked on her door and asked who she used, and she gave me your number. And that really is when I knew that we had something. When you have neighbors walking a block and a half to see what roofing company they used, because, you know, it's obvious everyone around that we cared about them and their property and protecting, you know, their kids and dogs and everybody else from the nails. She walked up there and asked, you know, what roofer was taking care of her. And that was the easiest contract ever signed, you know, and it was a 75 square, 12 and 12, you know, with good profit in it. And that was before we even had logos. And then we realized we can put logos on this. And so then we started printing logos on the breathable mesh, and we originally sewed it on. Now we Velcro them on to make it a little bit more versatile. So yeah, that's kind of the way it grew.
So let me ask you, the other aspect which you just touched on is that there's an element of a contractor's professionalism to this product also.
Right.
So you guys obviously at Avco were able to build the product into your customer experience, but can you touch on that, how maybe that influenced you know, the professionalism on your crew just to have that tool available to them?
Yeah, well, the crew guys, a lot of them, we had one crew that felt like it was extra work to have to set it up. And we said, okay, well, we were just in testing and development. We said, okay, we'll pay you $50 a job to use it and just give us information about it. And we did that for 3 or 4 weeks. And we said, okay, thanks for the information. We'll take it back now. We're not going to pay anymore. You know, we'll come pick it up. And he said, no, can I keep it? I want to use it. And we're like, sure, absolutely. And he kept testing it. And then we got another kit together and gave it to another one of our crew. And as we were explaining it to him, the crew leader, he almost got emotional because he was saying, I can't believe that y'all are thinking about me and my day and trying to make my job easier. He's like, so many roofing companies don't care how hard my job is, and they just want to get done quick and move to the next one. He's like, I can't, it's really nice that you're trying to make my day easier and, you know, trying to reduce the cleanup time and the callbacks, because roofers hate when they get called back, like, hey, you dinged some gutters. Hey, you know, there's some nails you have to come clean up. As much as we hate to take the phone calls from the homeowners, they hate to get the phone calls from us. And so anything we can do to reduce that cycle just helps everybody involved, helps that crew get on to the next job and make more money, and move quicker and not have to come back and clean up just because they didn't have the proper tools.
Right. The story you just told about that neighbor really demonstrated the the word of mouth aspect of
Right.
popularity for this product. And tell us about the branding opportunities that you guys discovered along the way, and how are contractors really using that for their marketing efforts?
Right. Yeah. So that's been really big this spring because it's so much harder to get in front of homeowners, you know, who don't want to answer the door. A lot of people are freaked out because of the virus. And so it's harder to door knock. It's harder to make connections and shake hands and be as social in the neighborhoods that we normally like to be. So I think a lot of roofers have realized, hey, if I can have almost a billboard size logo on every job that I do, people are really going to see who is working in the neighborhood and who's taking care of the neighbors that are around. And yeah, just being able to get logos onto the shoot nets has been really big for Avco, and then big for the people who buy the catch-all. And a lot of times folks will buy one and then they'll say, hey man, this has really revolutionized our business. We're going to get one for our other 3 crews, and they'll buy 3 more. And it's helping people grow. And during a time that, you know, has been difficult, and it's definitely, you have to change the way you do business. I mean, really everyone across all sectors have had to change the way they do business. But I think roofing contractors are finding the catch-all is a really valuable tool for them to be able to continue to grow during this time.
Well, and building off that, I had the good fortune to visit you on the show floor in Dallas at IRE 2020. I think I got only by the 3rd day, though. That's when the crowd seemed to stop. All right, so you guys were very throughout that experience. How were you able to carry some of the momentum going forward, especially through the pandemic?
Right. So IRE, we had a ton of momentum. We were at Win the Storm, a lot of sales. And then that was right before the pandemic hit. And I think it was the last 2 weeks in March. Everybody was like, you know, the economy was coming to a halt. People were going on lockdown. you know, and roofing companies kind of stopped spending money, and our sales went pretty flat for about 2 weeks. And Heath and I kind of got together and, you know, we discussed, man, we don't really know what's going to happen. You know, if business is going to continue just across the country, you know, what's going to happen. But we thought, you know, we truly believe that our product can help roofing companies continue to maintain business and not have to lay off crews and staff, and will help them, you know, bring in business just by making a spectacle of each job and having your logo. And also, oh, by the way, we're really protecting your house. You know, and so there's more word of mouth. And so we changed all of our marketing to be COVID specific and just said, hey, business is going to be harder to get for the next who knows how long, weeks, months. So we really believe that the catch-all can help you grow your business, and we're going to do a sale, you know, to help you get into the catch-all. And literally our Q2 of this year, we did more than 10 times the volume that we did last year. I think we kind of reached a tipping point of the shows and then the pandemic and people seeing it. You know, we had people call up, hey, my competitors have it, and so I need it too, just to be able to keep up and show people that I care about their landscaping. And so we were getting those calls left and right, and we blew through. I mean, so we bought 4 times as much inventory for this year as we did last year. And at this point, we're almost sold out. So in May, we put in an order with all of our suppliers to double our order for this year, and really kind of took us by surprise. And we had to scale up everything that we did. We doubled the size of our staff. We changed email servers, phone systems, you name it. I mean, we were having to upgrade everything to keep up with demand, and yeah. Wow. So
and also
it's been fun and exciting and a big challenge.
Erica, tell us, where can contractors find out more?
Check us out online, thecatchall.com, and our Facebook page. You can just search for The Catchall. I think it's The Catchall System. We also have a YouTube channel that we're kind of getting up and rolling. I think it's The Catchall System also, but you can find all that on our website and on our Facebook.
Great. Thanks again, Eric, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you out there sharing time with us for this Editor's Choice Spotlight. Please check back at roofingcontractor.com for more industry-wide coverage, and be sure to sign up for the new RC Digital Edition by hitting the subscribe button just a little up and to the right. And stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Art. Appreciate y'all.